Hey, we did it. We got four people in the
Hey,
room. That's awesome.
hello,
Whoa.
Hey, guys. Thanks
hello.
thanks for making the time to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
always.
I feel like we've been in constant communication for the past 2 weeks, and I'm still clamoring for your attention and time. But yeah, we played music on Sunday. I just wanted to do a quick recap for everybody. Uh, Alvin, this was your first time being back to church for a long time, right?
No, I've been back to church, I think 3 or 4 times prior to this.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right.
yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. How have you felt coming back just to church in general? Whether it was those times or this specific time for Easter, and how did you feel playing?
Uh-huh. It's definitely a refresher. And obviously it's always been a huge joy playing with you guys, and it's always fun messing around with you guys as well during our rehearsals or doing
Mhm.
some post recording or whatever we do. But I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year where I think we were planning to do something with Josh as well for Easter Sunday and Good Friday service. But obviously because of COVID, everything was canceled, and everything was moved online. So I think with that being said, that kind of made things a lot different playing in person this time for Easter Sunday. So, and I guess from a more general standpoint, coming back to church is always a huge blessing, a huge reminder of how precious worshiping together is in person
Mm,
with the FCBC family. So, and I think this time, I think it was the most amount of people I've seen in person at church on Easter Sunday. So, and
definitely.
I think there was definitely certain spots of the song when we were playing where we kind of died down in the music, and then that kind of gave the opportunity for us to listen. And that's when I heard like the congregation in the parking lot just sing, right? And I
Mm,
think that's kind of the moment where it kind of hits me like, oh man, I really missed this, or it just reminds me of how precious every single member of FCBC is, and how we worship together, and hearing everyone's voices. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's just a huge refresher, and it's just a reminder of how blessed we are to have such a good family and just
Mm.
worshiping together. So, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing with the rest of the team, not just this team, but the rest of the team as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree 100% with you, especially with what you said about actually hearing, I guess, the parking lot church sing. It gives a different feel, I think, to the outdoor worship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen, I wanted to talk to you. I know that you've been pretty involved with the AV, and you even helped Jess with the decorations. But I think something that people probably don't know is that you wrote one of the arrangements. We played Turn Your Eyes. This has been one of my favorite songs over the course of the pandemic. Can you just walk us through maybe your arranging and just kind of how you felt, yeah, playing it?
Yeah, actually, Turn Your Eyes has been one of my favorite songs throughout this past year too. And I've actually played it with our church for worship a few times already. I think with Ray for the most part. So like every time I've played it, I've already kind of developed like a vision of how I can see the string ensemble part going. And so I had that in mind. And then I also listened to your guitar arrangement
Hmm.
of the song. And then, like, as I was arranging the string parts, I tried to stay true to that also. So, like, for example, I think you start the song off like pretty sincere and like mellow, and then it gradually becomes more vibrant. And then, like, we get to the final verse, and then it suddenly cuts off to like this percussive guitar uh, plucking. What do you call that technique? I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it gets to that, and then it like kind of builds into a triumphant climax in the final chorus, right? So I try to like stick with that style of playing and incorporate that into my own arrangement. Um, And then like usually before I write, I'll read through the lyrics and I'll outline like the mood or the energy that I'm getting from each line. So like mellow or joyful or like anticipation, triumph, etc. And I'll use those like keywords to um, like I'll keep them in the back of my mind. And so like when I'm writing the music, it'll I my hope is that it'll bring out those moods even more. So like for example, in the chorus when we sing Jesus, to you we lift our eyes, right?
Yeah.
The strings will play like an ascending line to like emphasize the lift, and then they kind of like roll off. And then in verse 4, where like the stanza is about like turning our eyes to Jesus coming back. So there's like this mood of anticipation and like building, building, building. So the strings will kind of build onto like that mood brought on by your guitar, and then it like releases into the climax where like everything is kind of just more elevated and like vibrant. So yeah, I kind of kept those thoughts in my mind as I was writing.
I loved your arrangement, and something that stood out to me was at the end. You actually decided to cut out totally at the end the repeated chorus. What made you come up with that decision? It's not like I told you to do that.
I can't I can't say that it was my idea totally because I just listened to your recording, Aaron. Like you and Angie have always just
Oh,
done the final like chorus repeat as an a cappella. So I just like the idea of leaving it that way and um having the congregation just hone on to the lyrics
oh, I
better.
see.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to our previous, I guess, times leading, and also, I guess, making it really climactic too. I think you actually build up to it and then you suddenly drop out. I loved it, and I think it
Thanks.
really sets up the congregation to experience that moment of worship. Matt, you actually did the arrangement for God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. That's the new song that we wrote. Can you walk us through that arrangement, what you had in mind, and how it was to play it?
Yeah, sure. I guess like for my own process, I also like to listen to, I guess the recording you sent us. I like to jam with it for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. If I have time, I'll also take a shower because I feel like showers help me stimulate my brain cells in certain ways. And I'll usually jam to myself in the shower too. So that's part of my process if I have the time. Then yeah, after that, I usually have, yeah, I'll lay out the melody with the chords and then write in all the lyrics just so I can see what is happening in each little section. And then yeah, similar to Kristen, I'll look to like the keywords. I also call them like hot words, things that pop out to me. I think for me, one of the first ones that popped out was the cheer my soul kind of phrase.
Mm.
So that became out like for me because I think because I focused on that first, that became like the overall sentiment in a sense. Like I focused on this little motif that was like a da 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 dun. That was like a
Yeah,
little bit of
yeah.
a cheerful little ditty lick sort of thing. And then I kind of incorporated that throughout anywhere that I felt like there was that kind of joy or um, I guess excitement being shown in the words. And yeah, usually I'll usually lay down the bass part first, and then I'll kind of switch back between playing on the piano and then putting something into the part, just to kind of hear what kind of works best in my head and seeing if I can incorporate it. And then yeah, I guess that ending with the build, that's just something that I think we always tend to have in each song. There's a moment where we drop and then we build. So it's always fun to figure out like what other kind of nuancy things I can put into it. I think for this time I try to just have certain like more lyrical lines in the middle sandwiched from the build and kind of use that to also pull the lyrics up as well. So that was what I was thinking through this time. And yeah, I think it turned out cuter than I thought it would be. So it was kind of fun to hear it in person because it's
That,
always different hearing the MIDI playback and then hearing the live in person.
yeah, cute is a good word to describe it. I don't think that's like a bad word. I love the arrangement. Thank you for for making it.
Yeah.
I was watching you on the tapes, and you're doing some what looks like some hard parts, especially during. I don't know if you know during the bridge, but I see you. You're hitting those accents, and you're kind of like doing a rhythmic like that with your with whatever pattern you're playing.
Mhm.
Do, do you make it like hard for yourself on purpose? Is it hard? It looks like it was hard. Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
won't say make it hard on purpose. Yeah, I know which part you're talking about. It's kind of like an
Yeah.
alternating bowing sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Usually those things are things that I'm okay with playing. So I usually don't write harder than I think I can do on the spot. So
He's saying it's not hard. That's what he's saying.
Well, whether it's hard or not, it sounds good. It looks like you're playing well, and so thanks, Matt. Thanks for bringing life to the song.
yeah, my pleasure.
Alvin, I wanted to ask you what's it like playing these arrangements? I mean, I know you didn't arrange these specific songs, but what's it like playing the arrangements that you know your friends wrote? Like, does it mean anything to you? Are you sort of like, okay, I know what Kristen's gonna do here. Like that's fine. Oh, Matt's being cute, whatever. Like how does it feel?
I think there's depending on who arranges the song, I get a certain feel of how I guess how Kristen arranges, and then how Matthew arranges, and also Aaron Ma. He also arranges certain parts too. So I get a feel of if I were to play, let's say, a blind test of the three Kristen, Matthew, and Aaron's arrangements, I would say I would be able to see who wrote which part.
Wait, I have a
Um,
follow-up question. I'm
yeah.
super curious about this. What characteristics would you give to each of our like arrangement styles?
Good question.
I'll start with Matthew. Matthew's probably a lot more, I want to say complicated, a little bit, maybe because he has more of a professional musician background, and there's a lot more like, there's a certain arrangement I play, like, oh, I didn't think of that. So it's a lot more out of my expertise area. And I think for you, Kristen, it's more by the books, or quote unquote by the books in my standards. Maybe it's not by the books by Matthew's standard, but it's very rhythmically sound, very like stable.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I think Aaron's is a lot more. It's more my tea, or my type of music. Maybe because we may have like similar musical tastes. Maybe, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's my thoughts on each of your arrangements. But when I play them, all of them sound pretty good. They're not too hard, but if they're hard, I would reach out and say like, hey, can I change this part to this part? But so far, there hasn't been that many hard parts yet, I want to say.
All right, gotta change that.
Wait, I'm interested in what you think, Matt, because like I feel like Aaron Ma, if you're listening, I love his arrangements because like they're very rhythmically interesting. Like they're always just very rhythmically interesting. And I feel like my arrangements tend to be pretty boring. Like I try to branch out, like I have been trying to branch out and make it a little more interesting, and I feel like I just feed off of you guys, honestly. But like, yeah, what would you say is like our distinguishing kind of like characteristics of all our arrangement styles?
Style wise, yeah, I know for sure. I follow. Actually, for me, I follow more rules than you might
Yeah.
think I do.
I feel that
So
too.
I actually play by my own book a lot. Like a lot of things I learn in school, I import them into these arrangements. So
Give me
what
an
you and Aaron
example.
do,
Give me an example. I want to know.
Like chord
like
voicing.
something we learn about a lot is like choral, like voice leading, like four-part harmony, and how
Mm-hmm.
to make sure each voice doesn't cross or they don't go too far apart or jump too high in certain areas. And there's always ways to resolve in a very like specific manner. It's kind of based on like J.S. Bach's sort of chorale stuff. So that's kind of what I think through.
Are
And
are
yeah,
Kristen and Aaron, do they tend to break rules
yeah,
to
they
your
break all my
standard?
rules. So sometimes I have to like, yeah, just accept and be like, it's okay. it sounds fine. It
It
sounds
sounds
cool.
good.
I think it actually sounds better in certain ways. But like I'm
Right,
always like,
yeah.
because I think it's ingrained in my mind about these certain rules. So when I hear something I don't expect, it's like, okay, that's never something I would write. But I'm glad that we have people who are doing, I guess, different arrangements because it kind of allows these different colors and these different flavors to pop up, which is always cool.
I think it also helps because you're like of the three of us, you're the pianist, so like you already have that ingrained in your mind of like whenever you make an arrangement, I think your tendency is to like to play it on the piano, right? So the way
Mm,
your hands are placed are already in that like four-part choral voicing, right? So that's
mm.
immediately what you like jump to.
Yeah, I definitely I write like a pianist.
Yeah, you write like a pianist. Like your arrangements are like if when we're playing with the normal band, it's almost like you don't really hear the strings. Like they just blend so well with
Hmm.
the rest of the band.
Hmm.
Whereas I think I don't know how you could like say what you think about my arrangements, but like with Aaron Moz, definitely like you could hear the strings. Like they're very like they make themselves known.
Mm. Yeah, I can actually hear different inspirations from you and Aaron. Like I know Kristen, you like Disney music, and I can hear some of that
Hmm.
in certain ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
I
know
think
Aaron enjoys like animation and like kind of like J-pop, those kind of genres. So I can hear
yeah.
some of that in his stuff too.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment because I think I do tend to go towards like that classic like symphonic sound, like kind of Disney, like you were saying. So
Yeah,
maybe that's
it's
just
like
like
that
my
theatrical
tendency.
musical theater sort of sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Kristen,
definitely me.
Kristen, I want to follow up on that. What are your, I guess, main inspirations, I guess, in terms of writing? And then I also wanted to ask you, you've been helping with AV recently. Does it change how you approach playing when you're playing and you're not doing AV?
Hmm. Yeah, to answer your first question, I think some of my main inspirations I'd have to say are classical music and honestly anything I'm listening to at the moment, which right now is like Disney musical Broadway music.
Hmm.
So those are kind of my inspirations now for writing. And to answer your question about AV, something that I think I learned from Aaron Ma was just to like play loud regardless because like that just makes everything easier.
Wait. You mean you guys aren't playing dynamically? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like there's no such like everything's forte? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
pretty much, because it just makes it easier for the mics to pick up, and then whoever's working on the soundboard that day can like have better control on their end, as long as like the input is strong. So yeah, just I just learned to try and. Although I have to say, like I think I tend to play softer than I think I am. Like I think I could
Softer than
always
you
play
think you are.
louder.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm not playing loud enough in
I got
general.
you. You guys told me something. You told me that the violin actually is more, I guess it carries more than the cello does. Is that what you guys told me on Sunday?
Yeah, I think I said that.
Mhm.
I'll have to
But
listen to the recordings again, but I mean, what I heard, it sounded good.
okay, good. I was also further back, but
Matt, same, I guess, same question, I guess, that I asked Alvin, and what does it mean to you to be able to, I guess, play your own arrangements at church? And I think also how do you see playing as a cellist versus when you're actually leading on piano?
All right, I guess for that first question, what does it mean to play my own arrangement at church? I think it's a very cool feeling to be able to introduce something that is in a sense very personal and be able to introduce it with I guess the church family. I think it's a very fun thing to do, and I feel like it's different from the stuff I do at work because I do also do music for work, but being able to do something with like this kind of church family and having this different kind of reason for creating I guess composing these arrangements is definitely a feeling that I enjoy a lot. And I think it's nice to be able to have people to just play your music the next day. That's always cool to do. And sometimes
Next
you
day
never know what it
Yeah.
sounds like. You just have to wait.
or same
Yeah,
day.
6 hours later.
Yeah. And
and
how about
then
for as a worship leader, or I guess a
leader.
pianist and playing versus on cello?
Yeah, it's I think playing on cello is in a sense I feel like it's less stressful in certain ways in these situations because everything is kind of more planned out. Yeah, usually when I'm playing piano, I'm not writing things out as like specifically, and it does require a different sense of like practice. Like I think it requires more of that kind of improv practice. And yeah, same with like leading. I think when I'm leading, there are different thoughts that I have to go through instead of just focusing on just like one aspect of playing. I think when I'm leading, I'm thinking more about like what am I saying word wise and how am I kind of communicating with the congregation. And yeah, there's just different focuses that I'm placing in each thing I do.
Well, thank you for all that you do, all of you guys, and
Thank you.
even if you didn't do anything, thank you for just being part of FCBC Walnut and being my friends. It's really fun to be able to continue to, I guess, serve with you or even just catch up and just hang out at church during this pandemic. It's been quite a journey, but I'm thankful for the music specifically, and yeah, for being able to serve together and just have fun with you guys. We have a we have some videos that I need to release that we did under the tree, so I'll get going on that. But yeah, thanks for going live with me, and I look forward to playing again sometime soon. I don't know when it's going to be, but hopefully soon. And I said we would keep this short, so yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Thank
Aaron.
Aaron.
you.
It's always a pleasure
See you
serving
next
with
time.
you.
Bye guys. See
All
ya.
right, bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.